I'm America's digital pro, Kim Komando. And in tech news this week, Amazon recalls 250,000 power banks. These are portable power chargers. I'm going to tell you what you need to know and how to tell if you actually bought one. That's coming up. Plus, America's top brands no longer include two major companies. Go ahead, make your guesses right now, because later on, I'm going to tell you who did make the top 10 list and who didn't. Plus, I'm going to be sharing my tips on how you can keep your family members and friends from snooping on your phone. It's not that hard, it's easy. Now, let's get the latest from the Komando.com news desk.
Amazon has recalled 260,000 portable power chargers because there's a major battery malfunction. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says that the battery in the power charger can overheat and it can catch on fire. In fact, the Safety Commission says it has 53 reports of these power chargers catching on fire. That's in the United States alone. One person says they've received chemical burns after coming into contact with battery acid, and another 4 people claim the batteries caused property damage. So if you bought one of these Amazon basic power chargers, don't put yourself in danger. Don't use the thing. There's 6 models being recalled. You can find out those model numbers and information on how to get a refund, which Amazon is happy to give you, by just visiting Komando.com and follow the links. And speaking of Amazon, you know what it's like to be Amazoned? That's right, just like Google, Amazon has become a verb. Amazoned means your business has been crushed because Amazon is either going into or thinking about going into your industry. This week, Toys R Us became a probable victim to being Amazoned, announcing that it's shutting down all its stores. You can expect to see fire sales, of course, at all the Toys R Us stores, and much of the merchandise is more than likely going to end up for resale on eBay, with eBay merchants going out and scooping up toys for pennies on the dollar and then reselling it to you. Oh, and one quick tip, if you have a Toys R Us gift card, now's a good time to use it. Okay, here's a story that anyone with a pacemaker needs to know, and will stress that it's something you don't want to hit the panic button over, at least not yet. The Royal Academy of Engineering is a prestigious British organization composed of the UK's leading engineers from all sciences, so when they issue a study, it's worth everyone's attention, especially this one. The Academy says that hackers now pose a serious threat to internet health devices. MRI scanners, for example, are very vulnerable. If they're hacked, their images could hide serious health problems. And of course, there are drug pumps in use in hospitals all over the world. If they're hacked, they could deliver an overdose, could be a fatal one. Most alarming, though, is that pacemakers, which have been internet connected for a little more than a decade, can conceivably be turned off by hackers. Now, we've known that these devices have been theoretically vulnerable for some time, but this warning centers on the fact that even though we know, between the hospitals and the manufacturers, no one seems to be taking the threat seriously. So as we said, don't hit the panic button. But be aware of the dangers and talk it over with your doctor. This week, Microsoft issued a warning about the risk of something known as cryptojacking on Windows 10 PCs. There's been a massive surge of crypto-mining virus software. It's been showing up on Windows PCs all over the world, especially over the last 6 months. Microsoft is especially advising businesses to treat this as a serious security threat. Here's what happens. Crypto mining software more or less cryptojacks your computer. It runs in the background, mining Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. The problem is you don't know that it's there, and it's mining the crypto coins, and you're not going to get any of it. But there are some signs that your computer has been compromised. First, you'll notice it may be running a lot slower than usual. Internet connections especially, and slower overall performance. When crypto mining software is running on a computer, the whole computer is using more energy. So if you have a laptop that's been invaded, you'll notice a shorter battery life, and that the computer may be running a lot warmer than usual. Don't ignore this warning. Everyone using Windows 10 is at risk. Make sure that your Windows machine is running good and up-to-date antivirus software. Update it often, and for a list of great free antivirus software, just visit Komando.com and follow the links.
With the latest in cancer detection technology, your odds of preventing cancer go up. The more you know about your own DNA, the better chances of ambushing cancer long before it happens. This week on the Komando On Demand podcast, Kim talks to an expert from one of the leading cancer treatment facilities in the world. David Fogelman from MD Anderson tells us how nanorobots may soon help us with the cure for cancer. That's this week on the free Komando On Demand podcast, on the Komando app, or on your favorite podcast player by searching Komando.
Let's talk about baby monitors, security cameras, and wireless thermostats. 16 different models of all these devices have been investigated by security team researchers, and they find that all a hacker needs to do is a quick online search to find the gadgets, the make and the model, and then access the unit's default password to get total control of the camera or baby monitor or whatever you're using. Remember, all these internet-connected devices have a default password that comes out of the box. So what can you do? For starters, change the password immediately before you put it into service. Use a password that only you know, not 123456 or not the word password. Use something unique that only you'll remember. Next, connect these devices to the internet, again, only when you have to. Avoid buying used devices with somebody else's password in it, and stay away from unknown brands and products. So here's a question: how's that all working out for you? Because a lot of people have decided that they don't like what you say and think now that they've been exposed to it. There's a new Gallup poll of 3,000 American college students, and it finds that these college students generally endorse the idea of free speech. But that's the problem. They endorse the idea of free speech. As soon as someone's free speech offends them, they're ready to put limits on what the other guy can say. Which brings us back to social media. As we all know, much of social media is loud, it's rude, it's vulgar, oftentimes it's hateful, and it's full of misinformation, conspiracy theories, and all kinds of things that aren't true. The result is that with an entire generation never knowing anything other than the internet, apparently a lot of them have decided it's best to hang out online with people they agree with. But it leaves them completely unprepared to deal with anybody they don't agree with. Not having the tools to debate, not having the tools to defend their ideas, they simply want to put limits on what the other person says. Bottom line, don't take the First Amendment for granted. Coming up, the numbers don't look good for Facebook, but first, Kim's here now with more on America's best brands and the two major companies that didn't make it to the top 10.
The most valuable thing a business owns is its brand reputation. Simply put, it's the foundation, what people think of the company. So who's on top? The brands that I'm going to tell you about are not necessarily the ones doing the most business. They're the ones that we respect and admire the most, according to the just-released annual Harris Poll Reputation Quotient Poll. Some of the names will surprise you. Within the top 10, UPS, the delivery service, is high up at number 7. Disney is 5th. But ranking even higher than Disney, and despite all the undeserved negative publicity over the past years, Americans love and respect Chick-fil-A at 4th place. Tesla's number 3. But wait, where's Apple and Google? Down to positions 28 and 29. And Facebook is at a troubling low 51. The number 1 spot goes to a company that's also among those doing the most business, and it's the most respected company in America, Amazon.com. Here's some staggering news about Facebook. Chances are high that you and everyone you know spend significantly less time on Facebook each day. A few weeks ago, I reported on a minor decline in Facebook's daily use, about 4% a day. But now, Nielsen, the TV ratings folks, say that Facebook's core platform lost a whopping 24% per person in time people spent on Facebook each day. That's a huge change from that original 4% decline. In short, people are simply engaging less each day on Facebook. 2 questions here. The first is why. Secondly, where are they going? No other site seems to be picking up on this lost audience. That raises a third question. Are we finally tired of the constant bombardment of trivial updates on everyone's lives? Endless narcissistic selfies, relationship status changes. What we had for lunch today, pictures of cats and babies, and untrustworthy news stories. Watch carefully. The tide is changing.
Get the free Kim Komando app, free podcasts, and great prizes. Search Komando at Apple iTunes and Google Play.
And now more stories making tech news this week here at news.komando.com. Have you noticed your cable bill changing, and not for the better? Most cable subscribers are paying more now than ever before, and the costs still seem to be rising. The cable companies will tell you it's because broadcast networks like CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox are raising their costs to carry these cable companies. The cable providers are not going to eat the cost, so they pass it on to customers. So, what are your options? Well, there's over-the-air antennas. You get ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, and a number of other stations in HD free of charge. And it also might be time to take a look at all the various streaming services that are out there with Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and all the others. Now, if you're a regular visitor at Komando.com, and you should be, you know it's time to patch Windows again. Microsoft rolled out fixes for 75 issues, including patches for 15 critical flaws. If you use Microsoft's default browsers, Internet Explorer and Edge, you definitely will need to apply these updates as soon as possible. Most of these flaws have to do with being able to download malware through poisoned websites and take over your computer. The program Flash also has a critical vulnerability that's being patched again by Microsoft. If you're still using Flash and you're a Flash holdover, you should once again apply this update immediately. At the South by Southwest conference this week, the CEO of YouTube announced how YouTube is going to start fighting conspiracy theory and other false videos posted on the site. YouTube and Google have been under fire for spreading misinformation, especially dealing with the Las Vegas shooting and the recent school shooting in Florida. But their solution is questionable. What they want to do is link these conspiracy theory videos to third-party sources so that users can fact-check for themselves. The problem is, one of the third-party sources will be Wikipedia. Now, if you look up Wikipedia on Wikipedia, it says that you can't and you shouldn't try to use Wikipedia for serious research. The reason why is that anybody can edit a Wikipedia entry at any time. If something really silly is put in, usually it gets fixed right away, but sometimes not. So there's two issues here. First, will YouTube users who are watching conspiracy theory videos click on the link to look for the truth? And secondly, will Wikipedia tell them the truth? Now, don't get us wrong, we appreciate Wikipedia. It's fun, it's easy to use, and it's a nice quick way to check facts. Just keep in mind, sometimes Wikipedia's facts might not be exactly correct. And finally, if you're one of those people who's always looking for something to worry about, here's one. Almost 2 years ago, China lost control of its space station. Without constant fine-tuning, big things like space stations that are in orbit can fall out of orbit. And the Chinese space station is now just weeks away from crashing back to Earth. What goes up will come down. The publication Aerospace is keeping close tabs on the Chinese space station and believes that it's going to enter the thicker part of our atmosphere sometime in the first week of April. The good news is that most of the space station will burn up as it passes through the atmosphere. The bad news is that some pieces are going to get through. Pieces as big as 220 pounds could hit the ground. Okay, now there's more good news. 2/3 of the Earth is covered in water, so these pieces will probably hit the ocean. As we get closer to the time that this thing will crash into the atmosphere, NASA and the European Space Agency will be able to narrow an area of Earth that's most likely to see some, if any, of the fallout. There is an early map available. If you'd like to see it, just visit Komando.com and follow the links to the space station map. Now, if you have a snooper in your family or a friend that can't seem to keep their eyes off your smartphone, Kim has some great tips to keep your phone locked down and away from spying eyes.
Okay, admit it. We all have that one family member or friend who's just plain nosy. What do you think they would do if they had just a few moments alone with your phone or your tablet? Well, like most of us, you have a lot of information on your phone. Some of it you probably would want to keep pretty private. Whether it's your banking app, text messages, emails, or photos, likely you're just one password away from spilling out all your secrets. So that's why I want to give you a few easy steps to keep the snoopers away and prevent any strangers from eyeing your personal information when you're in public. First off, it sounds obvious, but you need to do this. Keep track of your phone. Your roommate, your spouse, kids, or visiting friends can't snoop if you don't give them the opportunity. So that's why it's a good idea to keep your phone on you, in your pocket or your bag. And if you tend to leave it around your house, then here's what you need to do. Your first line of defense is simply lock your phone. Choose a passcode, a fingerprint, a pattern, or if you have the iPhone 10, Face ID. If you go with a passcode, make sure it's not something that someone who knows you could easily guess, like your birthday or house number. Next, even when your phone is locked, notifications will still pop up. Anyone in view of your phone will see the reminders, the Instagram updates, or those flirtatious text messages, unless you hide the notifications. It's easy to do on both Android and iPhones. Be sure to check out my article in USA Today this week for the step-by-step details. And lastly, you can share your phone without sharing all the information on it. For Androids, it's called screen pinning. The iPhone feature is called guided access. Both let you limit what a person can do on your phone. Don't worry again, you'll find all the details to these and other helpful tips in my weekly USA Today column. To check it out, head over to Komando.com. In the Read section, just hit columns. You're up to date, and I'm America's Digital Pro, Kim Komando. Hey, stay up to date with all the Komando articles and podcasts with the Komando app. It's free, and you get notifications for podcasts like this one and the very latest articles on everything digital and those security alerts. And if you like this podcast, do me a favor, don't forget to subscribe. Head over to iTunes, Google Play, and also give us a great 5-star rating and review us, because that helps us better our podcasts and also helps more people to find our podcasts. And that's what it's all about. So thanks for listening. I'll see you next time, and I'll see you on the radio for the Kim Komando Show.